That 2 legs against Real Madrid, no Partey, no win. True or false? On Tuesday, they should go and play the way they play without Thomas Partey. Let us see. Simplicity.
I think Partey was great as the conductor for Arsenal in the 2 legs. It didn't necessarily mean that he was the best player in the game at the Bernabeu.
Champions League returns this week. Tuesday, PSG against Arsenal. Wednesday, Barcelona Internationale. Coach, the remontada people, it didn't happen. Arsenal are in the semi-final. I did a video to say that, to beg PSG to do something. But the way the team is going, some way, genuinely, this match, they met earlier in the season, the group phase. PSG were no match for Arsenal. But I think it's fair to say that was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
PSG have a completely different side now. Even Arsenal are a different side now. How do you think this is going to play out over the 2 legs?
Fenty, to be very honest with you, it will come down to the team with the best defensive organization.
And that's Arsenal.
That is why I am leaning towards them. Because I do believe that this Arsenal team, you see, I'm one of those who believe that you need a solid defense to win a major tournament or to win a major competition.
Yes.
Whether those
Over
38 leagues or 5 games, you need a solid defensive block to win any trophy there is. And look at Arsenal. We're here some few weeks ago. Vinicius, Mbappe, Rodrigo, Luka Modric. How would this Arsenal defense fare against them? I was of the view that once there is one Thomas Partey, that Real Madrid midfield will be nullified, made completely useless. And Partey dealt with them over 2 legs with cheeky ease. Now Arsenal goeth into that first leg against PSG at home. Well, that's Thomas Partey. I think if they were to be missing Partey away from home, it would be more disastrous. But at home, I do believe they can cope. Although it's a significant upset in the way Mikel Arteta will want his team to play. It is sad when you listen to the British press, when they speak and they intentionally, I repeat, intentionally ignore the impact and the influence of the Ghanaian in this Arsenal setup.
Who have you heard do that?
I've never heard any of them mention Thomas Partey the way they should mention. That 2 legs against Real Madrid, no Partey, no win. True or false?
Factors.
No Partey, no win.
Rice won man of the match over the 2 games, or in both games. But I think Arsenal fans would know their best performer was
Thomas Partey.
Not in the second leg.
Especially the second.
Not in the second leg.
No, you see, in that
In the second leg, he wasn't better than Rice. Let's not do that.
no, he was better. Positional wise.
It's okay. Let's not
Tactically, he was better.
Just
But
go
we
on.
all laugh
It's
at
a
him,
matter of
understand.
No,
opinion.
it's a matter of opinion. And
So
the way
let's go.
But the experts also said it. So
no, but what I'm saying is that even in the first leg when Partey was better, because he scored 2 free kicks.
which informs.
No, but at the end
those
of the
things.
day, it cannot be only about that. Now we'll see what they will do in Partey's absence against PSG. Go and show that in his absence, you are better than him. Go and show it. And then that honor. You see when Partey got that second, in fact, Thomas, Nakanye look at the no more.
Yeah, Rice was the first to be upset. But he knows he's nothing without him, huh?
They know. Any other player could have
That's
gotten
very
that.
unfair.
That's unfair.
Oh, no more.
What do you mean by he's
He's one of
nothing
their
without
best
him?
players. Where was
No
Partey
more.
in the grace when Saka wasn't there? He's one of their best. Obviously, one of your best
But
players.
last
to be
season,
there.
Arsenal were in the title race for long spells when
Partey wasn't
and
available.
they played actually their best football when Partey was
Last season, you can't this you see last season.
I'm
Why
saying
you
that
last
specifically
season?
today, he's nothing with
also,
That's what I'm saying.
also
And
this
I'm
season-
saying that
also
they
this
should come and
season.
play and
You
let's
can
see.
say
Also
he
this
takes
season.
something away from.
And that-
Which is
I'm
unfair
saying-
to say
No,
that
you say when you
Rice
say
is-
last season, Odegaard was balling at a
Even
different
now,
level.
you
This
can't.
year, where is he?
Even now, you can't say that Rice is nothing without Partey. Partey takes a lot away from the Arsenal team. That's not in doubt.
How many
But
times have we not seen this Arsenal team without Partey and Rice? is an
But we're both
ordinary
saying
player?
I have a question.
you
for
take Rice,
It's
Partey
no,
will
I have a
ball.
question
If
for
no
you.
Rice,
I have
Partey
a
will
question.
ball.
It's Rice man of the match in those 2 games without Thomas in those games.
yes.
Huh?
Yes.
But I saying Thomas plays as well if there's no Rice in those 2 games.
That's possible.
Of course.
How?
He was the controller. How can the controller depend on somebody? What are you talking about? Situ.
So let's not do
We
this.
watched the game.
Both of them were
Until
good.
Rice scored that 2 goals. When we
Nimble.
did the
Nimble.
live,
Nimble.
did you
Yes.
even
Nimble.
see him on a pitch?
Yes.
Doing what?
He was the one. He almost scored from a header. He
Scores from where? He did it. It was Moreno.
Okay.
Scored from
No.
header.
I'm saying Rice got a Rice.
Coach,
Okay, finish.
Oh, a shock.
coach, go on.
A shock.
No, I'm not going to
No, you
discredit
coach, you
Rice,
go
but
on.
No, I'm not discrediting. I'm saying that
he's a great player. I think what I said
point
was
I'm
in
making-
jest, kind of. Obviously, it's not nothing. But I'm just saying.
Thank you. The
Yeah.
point I'm making is that on Tuesday, they should go and play the way they play without Thomas Partey. Let us see. Simplicity.
But you have an issue with why they don't give him enough credit.
Exactly. And that is so unfair.
You've seen.
That is so
now
unfair.
that you mentioned it.
Because if you look at the
But I feel
first
like
leg-
some have given him credit too.
Who are those?
In the analysis.
Who?
I mean, Rio Ferdinand is giving him credit.
Fred, Ferdinand will go talk, say Kamavinga is a better midfielder than Thomas. Partey.
Yeah, no, that was before what the games are.
It doesn't
Ask
matter.
him before the games.
Look, the point I am making is,
Yeah.
if you have a controller in your team, everything revolves around him.
Okay.
If you have that player who ups it, drops it, keeps it constant, like we say in science, chemistry, the equilibrium is unchanged. Everything goes around him. And what I'm seeing, if you look at how possessive PSG themselves are on the ball,
That Vitinha boy.
oh my goodness.
João Neves.
I can tell you for a fact that Mikel Arteta is having sleepless night.
Who is capable of playing in that Thomas role?
Who have
in
they
his
got there?
absence?
Two things.
Yes.
And he has to decide which one is the best.
Mhm.
They don't have a proper number 6. I don't think Jorginho can live with the PSG.
I don't even
Team.
think he's fit. Is he back?
It's not fit.
No.
If he's not fit, then Rice will have to drop into that role. He's the only player they've got who can step in there and do a job,
Right.
which tactically he's not better than doing. Just as Partey will not be better than playing that number 8 role than he
So that takes that box-to-box position to who?
away. That is, so you look at the Arsenal team now. Would he want to say that I'll introduce Trossard? Because you're looking at what they have. Or Zinchenko to play along Rice, and maybe if the opportunity comes for Rice to join that, then Zinchenko, you sit so that Rice goes.
Hmm.
There's a lot of decisions that he
So the
has
Rice
to make.
goeth.
Go it forward and see whether he can go and tap in one more.
But is there not a scenario where you gamble with Merino back into midfield and then Trossard further up?
I was coming back. That was the next thing I was
That
going to
looks
say.
like the more realistic.
That looks like the more realistic, or in anticipation that the boss will come in the next leg to stabilize whatever is happening. So what he truly needs to do, Arsenal cannot lose this game.
At home, no.
I will be
they can't.
happy if they don't win, but they take a draw to PSG. For them to lose, draw the game and go to PSG.
Because the thing about PSG is they never stop creating.
That is it. I'll be happy if they don't lose the draw, and I'll be even over the moon if they take any form of lead to France.
From every indication, you are not confident that Arsenal can win at home.
I'm worried because Partey is not there.
Mm.
That is where my worry is. If he was there, oh no more, this is home and dry. home and dry.
Home
And dry. If Partey was playing, home and dry.
situation, is it that serious? The Partey absence.
Oh, let me just land so that he
okay,
comes.
okay, good.
He needs to demand a bit more from Odegaard.
Okay.
He needs to. I don't know where the man's form has gone to. Maybe we can import them here to Accra.
I don't know what happened to
I
him.
can take him to the Collie. You know the Collie?
And bath him.
And bath him properly.
Charlie was bad.
I need to take, you see, the Collie water is nowhere in the UK. The texture, look, the texture of the Collie water.
Which parts? The Bonyo parts.
The Bonyo part.
Some day Liverpool.
No, sir, that one cannot be compared to the one.
The Bonyo parts.
We need to bath Odegaard. Because look,
Watching him is like if he played for my team, you'll be so upset, so angry.
And for
Charlie,
me,
I thought the weekend was bad, and then Crystal Palace.
I don't know what's going.
I don't know what the problem is. I really don't know. Initially, I thought Saka's absence was taking a bit more from him. But Saka is back.
No, he looks fatigued. For me, that's what I
No,
see.
but he cannot be fatigued.
He looks fatigued.
Because he got injured, sat home for a very long
He
time,
looks fatigued.
came back.
Even when he came back, the first 5 matches or first 3,
He was very okay.
yeah. If his first game back was that one against Chelsea, he was so good.
You know, for
So
me,
I thought he would have carried on.
he looks off the pace for me. He looks
So
off the
again,
pace.
Arteta will have to demand a bit more from him.
Okay.
Another player that, in my view, will be very, very crucial is both Saka and Martinelli. Not only on the offensive, the
Defensively.
defensive. Because if you look at the way PSG play, that Morocco boy and that Portuguese boy, Mendes,
Nuno Mendes and Achraf
and
Hakimi.
What's the
Then
name?
you have
Nuno Mendes.
Dembele.
Oh, wait, like, what's the name?
Nuno Mendes.
Nuno Mendes.
Nuno Mendes.
Nuno Mendes and
Nuno Mendes and
Hakimi.
Hakimi.
And in front of them,
Nuno
Dembele
Mendes.
and Bakola or Desiree Doué. The Doué boy,
So-
the way I like him, man.
Charlie.
Arteta
You
needs
forget
to.
Kvaratskhelia.
You see,
That
that is why Arteta also needs to understand that it's not about scoring another 2-3-0. It's about winning.
Mm-hmm.
And in getting his team to win, there has to be a proper balance between how they attack and how they defend. I don't have a problem with how they defend because when you look at us now, when they lose the ball, they respect the fact that they are not in possession of it.
Yeah.
They always tend to put more men, keep their shape, wait for their moment, and then explode. I watched PSG play against Villa in that. Look, I still maintain. You remember when we did the program, I said that Villa will be knocked out by PSG because of the last goal they conceded in France. That 97,
Yeah.
I said it here that was the goal that was going to knock them out. But if Villa had brought a 2-1,
They would have attended.
I would have attended. Now, what the English team needs to do, which we didn't see Liverpool do, but we saw Villa do, is to play the game at a certain. But in the case of Arsenal, because it is the first leg and it is 0-0, you cannot go octane, bam, 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 like that. You need to balance, bam, sit, balance, like that. Create one chance and take it. It's not going to be a game of too many chances.
Yeah.
Respect the attacking threat of PSG. I mean, I don't see Dembele and I see their fullbacks that they are playing as wing backs. I see them as to be the two most dangerous players in that team.
Yeah. Because the wingers tend
Because how
to
is a
occupy the
wing
half
back
spaces.
Finding himself in the 18
1v1
and
with the
bending the ball into the net of Aston Villa like that. With cheeky ease. The other wing back,
Cheeky.
ease. The other wing back, you remember against Villa,
Nuno
that two
Mendes.
wing backs.
He also had a
scored 2 goals.
1v1 with the keeper.
And then he scored. And I was asking myself, Luis Enrique, then this is something that the other coaches will have to identify, respect, and find a better way of nullifying. Look, this is the sort of game I want to see Kudus plays in and make good money. Let me land. Why are you shaking my hand?
You have finished.
Charlie, he's not far off.
Is he where he has
want to
dropped?
see
No,
them.
this is
He will
the
make
mic
good
drop
money
moment.
here.
He has gone.
He will make good
I got
money.
2 moments.
He will make good money here. That will sort him out for life.
No problem.
So Kudus, let me land. You are in our former program, the Kudusi, Ogbonna, Suchek. The way people like that word, Ogbonna, Kudusa.
Where's that guy now, Grant?
Ogbonna. Then Saka.
He went to US sometimes.
So, Saleh, look, for my friends to come in, I think it's going to be a difficult game, but over 2 legs.
You still see us now.
As there's narrowly, PSG, yes, they've played in the final. How many times? Once, isn't it? Arsenal themselves have been.
2020.
Arsenal themselves have been in the final once, twice. Look, if you're an Arsenal fan,
once.
Which
Sorry.
Arsenal have been
Arsenal once.
twice? 06.
06 alone.
Alone.
So 1-1.
So the two teams at this stage are hugely inexperienced when it gets to having the nerves, the composure.
PSG has been there 4 times.
No, in the final.
Yeah.
In the final.
That's for the semis.
At the semi-final, they've been there. Now, who go it?
Who go with?
Who go it to the final? That's the issue now. Because PSG has been there 4 times. Only went to the final once. That was the COVID final, isn't it? No supporter. No supporter. So, look, I'm looking at this thing and say, look, it is too close to call. It is very, very, but I will lean towards Arsenal over 2 legs. Partey will be back in that second leg. I expect him to finish the job.
Actually, yeah, I think he will eat back a lot of West on PSG. The way he lambasted them at the start of the season and discredited.
But since then, I told you they will eliminate Liverpool.
Okay.
I told you they will eliminate Aston Villa.
I'll come to you. But Sicho, on the Arsenal, PSG game, coach has espoused that he thinks Thomas Partey's absence would be the difference. But from the PSG point of view, what kind of problems are they capable of creating that Arsenal can't find solutions to? Or do Arsenal's defensive organization have enough to contain the attacking threats of PSG?
It's a difficult one because Arsenal defensively can be very good. But PSG do a couple of things that at the turn of the year or since January have been very disruptive for many teams. When PSG are attacking, one of João Neves or Fabian Ruiz would sit in alongside the 2 centre-backs. That allows the 2 full-backs to be as advanced, far advanced as possible.
Very high up.
One of the other things that they do that Arsenal need to pay attention to is that while the full-backs are high, the false 9 in most of the time, Dembele, drops deep. Now, when Dembele is dropping deep, most of the time he takes 1 centre-back with him because he's dropping deep but not very deep to a position where the centre-back realizes I have to leave you for my midfielder. But he drops into a zone where it attracts the centre-back to get close to him. Because one of the things you don't want to see Dembele do is that when he drops deep and he picks the ball, he's able to turn and face you. It can be catastrophic. And we saw it in the game against Liverpool at Anfield. That when he dropped into the middle of the park and Van Dijk or Konate didn't follow that run, as soon as he picked the ball and he had room behind him to turn, he turned, find Bakula squared the ball, Konate couldn't clear it, and Dembele scored. So what you want to avoid is Dembele running at your back line. But the problem with that is, it's when he drops and he takes a centre-back with him. By the time he's done that, PSG have got their wingers in either Doué or Bakula or Kvaratskhelia coming in very narrow into the half space and being the two number 9s with Dembele in behind them. So when they're attacking, it is the 2 wide men who are here like this, Dembele slightly behind them. And then the fullbacks on the wings.
Yeah.
And
far more advanced.
And this is where it gets confusing for many teams for PSG because whereas the fullbacks can stay wide, they can also very comfortably swap with the wingers. So Bakula or Doué or Kvaratskhelia will be wide, and then the fullbacks will be inward. So we saw the
so instead of making overlapping run, they make
the underlapping, right? And even them. Anyway, we'll keep it underlapping. But you saw the Mendes goal in Paris. That was in the 90-something minute, but he was still very high up the pitch because that is the system. It doesn't matter the time. Because at that time, you're thinking defender should be defending.
Conservative mode.
Midfielder should keep it intact.
After all, they are 2-1 up.
After all, you're winning. What are you doing? But what happened was that he still found himself in that space when Dembele had dropped and then this attracted the back line towards him a little bit. In behind them was the space. And then when they went to Villa Park as well, we saw two of those moments. Look at where Hakimi scored his goal from and the run he made. But pay attention to when Mendes was scoring his goal and Hakimi's position in the box at the time Mendes was scoring the goal. And Fabian Ruiz's position, he was covering left back. Right? And then the back line shifted, glided across so that there's a back three to allow the fullbacks to go. How Arsenal responds to the shuffle of that PSG fluid attack when they're attacking is crucial. But Arsenal are facing a different problem. Because whereas Real Madrid could not keep the ball or were not going to keep the ball, so Arsenal will have a lot of the ball to dictate what will happen in the game. In the game against PSG, I dare say PSG are better at keeping the ball than Arsenal. I dare say that PSG are better at keeping the ball at Arsenal. And PSG's forward players, technically, can be said to be better than Arsenal's forward players, bar Saka, who could be on the same level with them. And when PSG's forward players have got the ball, they don't care the 1v1. They are comfortable enough to do it. But when Arsenal's forward players have got the ball, it's only one of them who's comfortable on doing the 1v1 without support. Saka. Martinelli might need support, or Martinelli might need room to run it behind. But Doué doesn't need your help for 1v1. No. Dembele doesn't. Surely Kvaratskhelia doesn't need it. Bakola doesn't need it. So PSG have got some weapons and Arsenal's in them that you can't always stop it with tactics. Because
the individual
brilliance it's plenty. And that is why against Liverpool, Alisson absolutely had to pull those individual brilliance to keep the game alive after the first leg.
What a game he had.
Like, he desperately needed to keep it. However, PSG's adventure style means that they can concede chances.
Right. We saw it against Villa.
In fact, in the game against Liverpool, look, Liverpool chose the wrong day or the wrong days to be asleep on duty. Because the openings for counter-attack, the openings for Mohamed Salah and Diaz to get in behind,
his passing was awful,
and Szoboszlai to get in behind, they were there. Like, the openings were there, and Villa made the most of it when they came to Villa Park. Right? You saw those openings, and then Villa could have won the free header from Ezri Konsa, Asensio's 1v1 by the keeper. Couple of chances. I mean, Donnarumma was good as well on the day. So PSG have got those vulnerabilities. But I think that because Arsenal are going into a game where their opponents are also good with controlling the game, Arsenal is going to be the team without the ball for most of the time. And Thomas Partey's absence is crucial. Look, I don't downplay Thomas Partey's inclusion in the team, but I think we are overplaying, how well he played in the game against Real Madrid when it comes to the rights issue. And this is my reason. It's like Sergio Busquets. He was constant and standard for Barcelona. It didn't mean he was the best player in every game. I think Partey was great as the conductor for Arsenal in the 2 legs. It didn't necessarily mean that he was the best player in the game at the Bernabeu. The same for Rodri. Rodri is constant for City the way they play. He conducts the game, he controls the game. It doesn't mean... Now, the issue with missing Partey is this. What he offers the team, no other player offers it immediately. And that is why they will miss him. And I think if Rice got injured, they would miss him. If Saka got injured, they would miss him. Right? Because what Saka offers in the team, no other player does at the minute. No other player does what Partey does in the team at the minute. So they are going to obviously miss him. But like I said, Arsenal with the knowledge that, with my thinking that they won't see the ball as much as they did against Real Madrid, maybe then it's a game where control is not the priority. It's a game where the flow of the game is not the priority. It's a game where stopping PSG and then making the most of the adventurous attacking potency of PSG can then benefit them. Because Martinelli has got the pace. Saka has got the pace. Rice can drive with the ball. Odegaard on his good, they can pick a pass, even though at the moment it's off color. That is where I think Arsenal can find some joy. But it's a tough call. The game is not going to end after the first leg. The game is going to go all the way into the second leg. I won't be quick to predict the tie. I want to see the first leg, see the dynamics, and then I can make a call on what the tie can look like in that second leg. Because to be honest, it is incredibly too close to call.
He has to predict.
Is it by force?
Did you predict?
I said over 2 legs, Arsenal to
Me,
qualify.
I won't predict over 2 legs when I'm not seeing the first
No,
leg.
but that's not the nature of the show, man. You know that.
What's the nature of the show?
No, man.
Bro.
You said this man.
I said it's too close to call, bro.
What is wrong with
It's too close to call, bro.
No, what do you mean close to call?
When did you come
It's too
from
close to
America?
call,
It's been
bro.
many years ago. Why are you still doing? Oh,
No, man, what is that? You should. When we did the can, didn't you ask us to? When we get to the semi-final stage like this, people are supposed to predict.
No, but coach, you were here the last time we did the Champions League draw 3 to the final. I did make my prediction, right?
And so continue.
No,
you said Real Madrid will win.
No, I didn't say Real. I said Inter were going to win the final. I didn't even say. I said Real Madrid were going to be. Arsenal were going to kick Real Madrid out. I just didn't see them winning at the Bernabeu, if you remember.
Uh-huh.
But I said Arsenal would knock them out regardless.
So do the same now.
I'm saying for this game, I said
Don't fold your arms like that.
No,
What
but
is
it's
that?
not a prediction.
No, but
Coach, football is not always. I know what will happen.
no.
You should be able to be in limbo.
It is not about knowing
you are
what will
confident.
happen.
Yes, you are
It's not
confident.
about knowing what will happen.
I'm not confident. I don't see the first leg.
Viewers, you see this man, they don't want you to chop bet. Hey, put the thing on my face.
Yes. So on the bet, I'm telling
They
them for
don't
close
want you
call.
to chop bet.
I know. I want you to chop. So I'm
I
telling you,
coach Nimri.
I'm telling you, it's a risky one. It's a risky one.
Arsenal win.
Okay.
In France, Arsenal to qualify.
Okay.
Bet. Arsenal. Look, Thomas Partey, Agbenomo Kajeche.
I should go on.
It goes without saying that Partey will be missed. Apart from everything Chris and Sicho have said, the part where I think Arsenal would actually miss Partey is in the transitions and in the moments where they can hurt them. Because, and to add to what Sicho said, one thing he didn't mention, when PSG are attacking very high up the pitch, and in the moments where they see an opportunity and are prepared to take the risk, the deepest midfielder will drop in to join the centre backs, affording the wing backs or the defenders, the full backs to become wing backs, like he's explained. The other side of it is because one other central midfielder joins the forwards to press high because their idea is they need to regain possession back quickly.
In case they lose it.
And those are the moments where, so against Liverpool, there were 3 such instances. The first one, the Darwin Núñez moment, and the 2 passes that Mohamed Salah fluffed were similar situations. And they happened because in the middle of the park, there was literally one midfielder from PSG. Those are moments where Partey will not misplace or overhit those passes.
No more pick pass.
And that is exactly the scenario that makes my heart break for Arsenal, because if I look at the sort of form that Odegaard is in, I won't trust him to pull off those passes. He is, and you see, in situations like this, muscle memory gives you confidence. You've done it over time. In your most recent games, you've pulled it off so many times that even when the scenario has not happened, you already, and you see, when you're confident, you are imaginative. You are able to even forecast scenarios that will happen on the pitch. And you know exactly that's how come players are able to do things off the cuff. It's one part of it. There are players who are born with it. They don't need to see the scenario, but they just have that God-given ability to apply the right technique and the right amount of pressure on the ball to execute it. They will pull it off. And then there are those who will see the action before it happens. Unfortunately, Odegaard in his current state, there are too many mistakes he's making. There are too many bad games. He's badly out of form, low on confidence. And I don't know whether it is because of the body language, but I get the sense that he's even covering less ground than he was doing back when he was playing well. And that does not bode well. And in a game that I don't expect Arsenal to dominate, it is those moments that they cannot afford to let slip that will determine whether or not they will get anything from the first leg. And that's why, for me, I'm heartbreaking for Partey. A bit on his contract situation before we talk about the game itself. I don't think it's for nothing that Arsenal leaked out the information that they want him to stay for 1 more year.
It's not Arsenal that leaked it.
I think so, obviously.
1 year.
No,
they will give him 1 year.
There was no detail, but it was 1 plus 1.
So they said 2 years. So they said 2 years plus 1 or 1 year plus 1, which is fair.
1 plus 1, yeah.
Yeah. My suspicion is that because of the word from Madrid that Zubimendi may now favor a move with. Because the word from January was that the deal was wrapped
Yes.
for the summer.
They've bought Zubimendi.
It is not out of nothing that
They've shown
In 1 week.
gross disrespect to Thomas
you
Partey.
see in 1 week the Real Madrid
Because of Partey, they
press,
shouldn't improve their
I didn't
midfield.
say that.
Okay.
Why are they now begging him to stay? Why are they now begging him to? If you
And
respect
to
the
go,
player,
coach.
if you respect the player, you wait when the player's contract is 2 months to the end. He said, "Come and stand with."
namely, to be fair,
We've gone. We've left the place. Arsenal, we've
Partey
gone.
has had injury issues for 3 of the
Yeah,
last 4
call-
seasons.
we've
Arsenal have
gone.
been too good to Thomas. They've
What do you
they've
mean too
protected
good?
the boy.
What do you
They've
mean?
been there for
You
him.
don't go there.
Don't
We are talking
go there.
football. You don't go there.
Look,
We are talking football matters.
My
Don't go there. We are
my
talking football
suspicion
matters.
is that once they saw those reports,
This guy,
and I think that look,
past there.
I think Arsenal
No,
may have
why
gotten-
is he saying? Is that why he's saying that? The fact of the matter
should
is,
go off,
you
please.
don't disrespect a player.
Nah.
If you want the player, 2 months. I don't know. Have you
It's
heard that
okay, it's
before?
okay.
2 months.
But you
With
win.
all these performances-
Simply you win.
With all this performance, Arteta, with what's
So
the name?
Liverpool don't respect Salah and Van Dijk.
Salah and Van Dijk,
Yes.
they don't
Yes,
respect
yes,
them. You
yes,
see,
yes.
Akwa Mokojo Ajo. You understand that?
I don't know how I'm mega.
Akwa
What does it
Mokojo.
mean?
Repeat after me.
Akwemo
Akwa Mokojo. Ajo.
Kojo. Ajo.
If the beat is playing, I won't look at the way you are boogieing to boogie. I have my own boogie.
So Arsenal should not use
Liverpool can afford to do
And so
that.
be a sign Chaupa.
And only answer no. Obi Sana sa also share answer their concern.
You see, sometimes Kevin De Bruyne, he was saying that up until the last minute, he did not receive a single offer. He was later told that Charlie offer. No,
Yes, you are called.
Yeah.
no, that which was last month.
Yeah.
And look at what Kevin De Bruyne has done. So I mean, sometimes, yeah, ideally you perhaps would have preferred an offer to come in, but there are also mitigating circumstances. Like I said, Partey has in 3 of the last 4 seasons, Partey has not been fit. This is the most extended period he's at. So I will give them that brief. But I think he's in a good place now. But as I said, for
We
me,
have a team. Yeah, yeah, team like that. Yeah, come.
you
They know that. They know we have a team.
Where?
No, it is not to be put out now.
that you see that
I
information.
thought you were a deep throat sauce.
Me.
you see that information there. It is very possible that these people are
Mi
feeding.
be paleo, avide mi be paleo. Oziana, mi be paleo. Manche Yesu se ni
It could be a
manye.
negotiation tactical.
Mi be paleo. Manche Partey se ni manye. Mi be paleo. Partey. Mi be pa. Avine mi be pa. Partey mi be pa. Avide mi be pa. Hey. Manche Partey se ni ma. What Manche you understand that?
Yes.
We are kings within our own right.
Yeah.
We decide where we go, not Arsenal. What a homo, what be now?
So you are leaving.
Look,
Thomas
fence,
is leaving.
fence.
I'm saying that, look, for him to stay, they will go down on their knees. Zubimendi, go and buy Zubimendi. Go and rock shoulders with Real Madrid. Go and rock
So you were
shoulders.
saying that they leaked the information out for their own benefit.
I think so. What would it look like if, up until now, every Arsenal fan was rest assured that Zubimendi is coming? When that Real Madrid report comes in, excuse the language, but unless you're an idiot, you won't take it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure Arsenal will have grapevine information direct from source, from Zubi's camp, that if anything has changed. And at the time we had the reports of Zubimendi and Arsenal being a done deal, there were no indications that they wanted Partey to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
And for me, it made sense. It made sense because I don't see how you are going to sign Zubimendi and you make that sort of outlay and then you play Partey ahead of him. Your bosses will call you. You ask this guy to come.
Mm-hmm.
If he was not good enough, why did you ask us to make that? So the other side of the coin is that Partey is one of the club's highest earners and one of the club's best performers.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot keep him on the bench because you have a new shiny toy.
Mm-hmm.
So those complexities, either Partey stays and they let Jorginho go and bring in another midfielder, or
I think
they
they've
just-
renewed Jorginho's contract to by a year. Or that was the one they did.
But,
last year.
That was last
that was
season.
last season. Or you bring in Zubi and Partey goes. I don't think Arsenal is the sort of club who will pay. And here's the thing: that would mean they have 3 holding midfielders who are on £200,000 plus. Arsenal don't strike me as the sort of club who
That would do that.
that will do that kind of thing. But
Okay, so back to the game.
yeah. So for me, I think PSG have got the advantage.
Okay.
And look, people need to realize that the PSG Arsenal played in the league phase are not the same team. Yes, it will be referenced a million times that Arsenal beats them and they bullied them. It was not a contest, which is true. But since then, PSG have shown us a different side of them. They play in a completely different way than they used to. They are putting in consistently performances that should scare you. And for my money, as far as the Champions League is concerned, and even not just the Champions League, in all of Europe, I don't think there's any team that can hold a torch to PSG. Maybe Barcelona marginally because of the volume of goals they score and the chances they create. But in terms of, if you want purely the sort of football, the two of them are practically about the same level. And you see, even for the Aston Villa second half performance, there's an explanation for it. This was not a situation where the tactics stopped working or they got found out.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was that for whatever reason, I think that a bit of it had to do with a drop in intensity. So there were more spaces.
Villa wronged the head out of
There
them.
was that.
No, my break.
There was that. But what gave us an insight for me was the Dembele post-match interview where he said, we practically stopped playing and we stopped doing all of the things
But
that usually...
Villa compelled them to stop playing.
That usually serve as well. So I will not read too much into it also because this is a young team. It is still part of the learning curve.
Yeah.
Against Arsenal, we will see possibly some new mistakes. It would not mean that they have been found out and that we have seen the best of PSG yet.
No, they can only get better.
Yes, much the same way whatever happened before November was not the last of the PSG team. So for me, and Sicho has explained how they play and everything. Final point I'm going to make is this.
I wanted to finish and go into the Barca-Inter game as well.
Is this. I think Arsenal's best bet in midfield. At this rate, I won't trust Odegaard to play alongside Rice.
What were your options?
I'll throw in Lewis Kelly.
In midfield?
Yes.
And play who on the left?
Push. They have, what's his name?
The Italian boy.
Because Calafiori is also injured.
He's injured.
Oh, Calafiori is still injured.
And the other one, Tomiyasu is injured. Zinchenko, the man doesn't trust him.
Unless you want to bring Timber.
Unless you want to bring Timber to the left and bring back
Then White.
Yeah.
Because in the middle, for a game like this, you need someone who's technically sound and secure in possession.
Yeah.
The things Odegaard was doing against Ipswich, Crystal Palace, before that in the Madrid game, the areas he was losing possession and the passes that he was failing to pull off. If he does that anywhere in the Arsenal area, PSG killed him. Like, there will not be any forgiveness for that.
What do you think of the Merino option alongside Rice? I mean, being in midfield comes naturally to him.
It comes naturally, but the creative part of it, we haven't seen it at Arsenal. That is not to say he no longer has it. My understanding of it is that his interpretation of what Arteta wants him to do, he can do it, but not in a manner that allows him to still retain his creative ability, which is a key component of it, of the job. You can't be the number 8
against Real Madrid in that second leg.
But he was the man up front. He wasn't necessarily the number 8.
No, tactically, you see, when they had the ball, there were times where he was dropping.
Is he coming short? Is he coming short? Is different from being your primary job.
There, but he can.
Yeah. Okay. So for you, Lewis Kelly, I think that's an interesting.
Yeah, because he has looked very secure.
You know, based on that point, coming short is different from
staying at the top.
Doing box to box.
Do you not think that driving into midfield diagonally is different from being in the middle of the game and having all the game around you as well, especially for a young player who hasn't played that position at this level?
And that is my concern. If he can process what space and timing means, because very often, and remember what Pep said about this guy who he said the guy is not intelligent enough to play in midfield, Matthias Nunes. The game can be too quick for certain players. So it's not like they don't see the danger. They can see it happening in real time, but their reaction rate is too slow. Mm-hmm. Or he sees the space there for him to make the pass. So it's not always.
That comment was nonsense from Pep. Because it's Pep, he's getting away with it.
And he's getting reference.
You go buy player this amount of money. He been made for that Portuguese international. Has played midfield all his life. You Pep the whole time you say.
What was in your starting report?
What's that?
Wait.
It be bullshit. If you say it be Pep, so be able to be
You see, we are all assuming that Pep specifically asked for the kid.
No, I'm not.
It is possible that the club wanted him. He didn't say no.
Yes.
But Pep looks like the guy's skill set, and he cannot use him in his
has gotten
midfield.
to the stage
actually,
at Man City where if they
Nobody
bring him,
can
he
give him a
get
player.
That he doesn't. Well, that's
Let's just say the team bought him.
He bought it.
Tell us that.
He didn't buy the
You
fat.
go buy Nico Gonzalez. What's in the play?
Fat kid.
The British
Caliber
boy.
Nico Ishio.
You go buy Nico Gonzalez. What's in the play?
No, the British boy. The
Grealish.
one
Jack Grealish.
No, it's not the midfielder.
Fufodin.
No, the midfielder. The one who
Calvin
went to
Phillips.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Calvin.
One me catch.
No, let's just say those players were not his signings. You've gone to bring Nico Gonzalez. What's in the play?
Where did they play?
What's in the play?
Just signed him
Make it come off for
January.
there.
January, yeah.
Oh,
Charlie, let's talk about the Barca Inter game and be brief on it.
Yeah.
quick.
Chicho said that for him, Inter will win the Champions League. Barcelona are going into
They've been given a boost. Lewy is not going to play.
yes, which is a big problem.
It's a big bummer.
And not just in terms of his personality, but the style.
It affects the way they play significantly.
In a very similar manner to how Dembele comes short and carries defenders along with him, Lewy does that. And that's how come for most Barca goals that you see, Rafinha is the most advanced player, even though he's not the center forward. Right. So he will attack him, let others bounce off him, and often he will come short and combine with Fermin Lopez or any of the other central midfielders, sometimes wide with what's his name, Lamine Yamal. They create overloads on one side, one switch of play, and then Rafinha is on the end of that. Or he can come short on one side of the pitch. They switch play. In his absence, and again, I mentioned this before, I was hoping we would not have to come to that. They don't have anybody like him. And I know people will try to mention Ferran Torres. It's not the same with him. One, he's not as clinical. Two, he does not have the intelligence to hold up play and draw his teammates into play. And thank you. Because he's not a striker, his instincts in the box are not the same. So, Flick has to pull a rabbit out of the hat. And no, Dani Olmo is not the solution. When he has to come off in the second half of games when already the team has the momentum and they are dominating teams, it looks easier. Individually, he's brilliant. When you afford him the space, he can make a difference. But in a game like this, every move counts. If you drop 5 yards deeper than you usually defend, it means something entirely different for your midfielders. It means now they have 5 more yards to cover before they get to the end of the pitch. That also has a different interpretation in terms of the kind of passes your midfielders have to hit to find Rafinha or to find Lamine Yamal. If your team has to push higher up the pitch because of Fermin Lopez or Ferran Torres, it also has implications because even for the high line, there is a limit to which they can go.
Of course.
Remember, we're in the final lap of the season. This is not January, where you've had your winter break. So players have come back refreshed and can expertly execute your high line for you, or the beginning of the season. Right? And it's a high stakes game. It's semi-final. Barca have not been here in 6 years. So even for someone who is not risk averse and is adventure first, like Hansi Flick, it will play on his mind. And perhaps this is the one game where he'll be thinking about being compact, because the Inter team they are facing are the most patient team that you'll come across. And they can mix it up. If you have paid attention to Inzaghi's Inter over the years, if they have to sit deep and soak pressure, they have the men for that. If they have to press high up the pitch, they are able to do it. And because they are not the sort of team that wants to play high-octane football with you and chase you in every week, in every game, they have the energy. They have enough in the tank. And that, for me, creates serious
They are
problems.
the most balanced team in Europe at the moment.
Without doubt.
With a lot of experience in the players that they have. You compare the Inter team to Barcelona, and it's almost funny because it's like fathers versus
Kids.
in terms
At
of
this
like
level-
experience,
yeah.
you know, and that is where, that's where I'm genuinely afraid for Barcelona. That as skillful, as good and talented as their squad is, and as good a football they play, the Inter team might just be a tad bit too much for them to handle. Don't you think?
Is that
Yeah,
that's that why I come in?
yeah.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
No. Look, it could well be. Like, it could also be the reason why Barca do squeeze past them. But I fancy Inter because of one thing. If you want to beat Inter Milan, right, you have to be very patient and watch them fan-fool themselves. Because truly, what Inter do when they have the ball from the back is quite stupid.
Right.
So what you have to do as a team is to allow them to do their stupidity to the point where it stops, then you come in. The difference is Barca won't be that patient. And I'll explain why I say it is stupid. So in the game against Bayern, unfortunately for many people, they didn't see that game because obviously we're focused on the Arsenal game. But if you watch that game against Bayern,
Thankfully, I did. I paid a lot of attention.
Especially in the second leg, there were points where Thomas Müller would end up being in his own box or in his own half when Inter have the ball because they adopted the man-to-man marking. Now, Thomas Müller is an attacker. So if he's supposed to mark somebody, he was marking one of the three centre-backs, most of the time, Bastoni, who was on the left-hand side of the back three. The reason why Thomas Müller, when Inter had the ball, or when Inter were building up, would end up in his own box or deep in his own half was this. When Inter are building up, that's why I say you have to be patient. When Inter are building up most of the time, the back three who are the defenders, they swap with the midfielders.
So
Bastoni pushes high up the pitch, as well as Acerbi, as well as either Bisek, De Vrij, or Pavard. So they bypass the midfield. And the three midfielders in Barella, Kahanoglu, and Mkhitaryan, they are slightly deeper. But they are doing it in a way that you see the midfielders, all of them are ballless. So they barely lose the ball in those dangerous areas. So if you're doing man-to-man marking, what you end up doing is when Inter are building up, your midfielders are in your opponent's box because they are man marking the central midfielders. And then your attackers are in your midfield. If you've not rehearsed that, it is easy for them to bypass your attackers who have become your midfielders as soon as they go past your midfielders who have become your first line of press. And so this season, teams that have beaten Inter, they are teams who don't care what Inter do with the ball when they are building up. They are in the mid block.
Just waiting.
They are waiting. So Inter will do all the swapping. So when you've seen AC Milan enjoy good success against Inter, all AC Milan have done is to frustrate Inter Milan by just waiting.
Leg? Just by the whole.
Oh, they beat them 3-0. AC beat them 3-0. What AC will do is...
You mean in midweek?
Yes.
They
3-0. You have it scored twice and then Rangers...
They also changed the team a lot. So, I mean...
No, but it's the same system. And that's the thing about
I get you,
Inter.
but personnel-wise, they also made a lot of changes.
Look, Inter Milan have got so much players that... I don't believe
I know.
When Inter changes to be anything. Inter.
I mean, if Martinez doesn't play, Mkhitaryan doesn't play...
Martinez came on early enough.
And missed the chance.
They've got talent. Yeah, he missed some chance. But so what I'm saying is, when they do that, it also afford the likes of DiMarco, the likes of Dumfries.
Yes.
So think about it. How has DiMarco got the number of chances he's created? How has Dumfries scored the number of goals he scored this season? Right? It's simply because when they are building
that boy can use his left foot.
Yeah.
The day he learns to use his left foot.
Dumfries. Yeah.
He's injured at the moment. Like you're saying, Inter have so much quality, but it seems like we're one player they missed.
Yeah, because they got a lot of goals from him and it's a big free. He can head the ball. And
I like that guy.
If you see the second goal they scored in the first leg against Bayern Munich, as soon as Bayern Munich scored and Inter got the ball and they started, look at the counter and look at DiMarco's position and look at how Frattesi got in and look at who played DiMarco through. It was one of the centre backs. It's because when Inter were starting their play, the midfielders picked the ball. And the thing is, their centre backs are good with the ball on the turn as well in the middle of the park. The danger is, like I've said, if Barca are not patient enough and Barca are doing the man marking at times they do when they are pressing, they are going to dislodge some of their important players. And and basically when Inter have won big games against teams that want to go toe to toe with them, that is practically how they've done it. The way they build up is stupid, it's crazy. And if you're not paying that, but I mean, of course, all top coaches would have paid attention to it. But there's one thing about top coaches. That's your style. Play it. I'll play my style. I think it will still beat you. But I think if you're not patient enough against Inter, you end up dislodging your team structure, right? Which feeds into what they want to achieve by the plenty movements they do when they are building up. And again, when Inter don't have the ball, they are not shy of playing 20 players in their box to defend.
This is the point I was going to make. And that Barcelona thrive a lot with those spaces, Rafinha running in behind. So when the team is so deep, like, and you are so spot on when you say, Inter are not ashamed.
They don't care, bro. They have no shame.
Inside the box, they are fine.
Ask about me, I have no shame.
They can see.
They have no shame. They will do it.
They can call on their retired legends to help them defend. They will bring Zanetti and Materazzi to help them.
Because when you watch a player, you watch this guy's face, man, you know that this guy, he dreams about his defending.
Yeah.
They
take pride in doing it.
You know?
But on the other hand...
No player I know who will do so well at Inter Milan.
Who? Rudiger?
No. Azpilicueta.
No, so... But on the other hand, I think how Barca are going to get through Inter to... Well, again, largely depend on the individual ability of Rafinha, who's been brilliant.
Fantastic.
And then Lamine Yamal, if he can produce some of those magics, because... he's special. At times it comes off, at times it doesn't. But when it comes off, you are in trouble. I know the way Inter defense, even if you beat one man, there's always somebody to step in behind to close the space. So you normally can't find the space to get in behind them. And Barca would have to be very, very good when they're defending set pieces. I think apart from Arsenal, no team has scored more goals from set pieces than Inter Milan.
Wow.
So I think that Barcelona would have to be wary of those balls when they are swung. They've got big...
It's got 11 in the league alone.
Yeah, they've got big men.
Crazy.
They've got big men. Like their men are big. They are huge. All their back three are huge. Their wing backs
also,
when they play.
to add to that, there is a specific style they are executing. Which is the outswingers.
Yeah.
All 11 in the league have come from outswingers.
Yeah. So and they've got some of the best players swinging them out or in. Barella or Karanoglu, depending upon who is in there in the ball. They've got great technique. So that's what Barca must be wary of. But on how Barca, I think, can disrupt them. Like I said, because with the way Inter build up, they are able to, they also displace their defenders who go a bit higher and their midfielders deeper. If you win the ball off Inter quickly, which is very rare, it means that you are attacking against their midfielders in the first phase of the press or in the second line of the press. So if they're able to pick the ball off their midfielders, who normally don't play through, they play over them or around them. But if you're able to pick the ball in that second phase of the press, what that means is that you are getting a Mkhitaryan, Barella or Karanoglu, and it is easier, obviously, than Bastoni, De Vrij, or Bisek, or Pavard, or whoever plays in the back three. And that could be it. So I think Barca have still got the quality because Barca can keep the ball very well when they have the ball. But that's the thing about Inter. When they play against teams that are able to keep the ball, they show them they've also got the same ability to keep the ball.
That's what I was thinking when you mentioned that, because in the big games that Inter have conceded more than one goal have been, I think, apart from the Juve 4-4. So that would be perhaps the only scenario where you saw in the build-up, they would commit both centre-backs from both sides of the pitch into central midfield. And that's how come they conceded that many goals. I think against Roma as well, they conceded a few chances. But quite apart from that, in every other big game, they accord you that respect. And we see a very different side of Inter, a bit more conservative in their build-up. And so those chances that ordinarily, when they're playing, say, a Bologna, like we saw over the weekend, or any other team, that is not of a similar standing that they will concede in the first phase or the second phase of that build-up when they lose possession would not necessarily be there.
So they'll keep that. They will keep the respect.
That is one.
They have the respect
exactly
for the big team. Coach, look, what do you think is going to happen here? Because see, Inter Milan, as good as they are, as the guys have spoken about, and they've deserved all the praise that they've gotten. But recently they've been struggling, and they also have injury issues. They lost against Bologna. They lost against AC Milan. That's 2 in a row. They had a comfortable lead at the top of the table. Now they're level on points with Napoli. Napoli only literally have the 5 games in the league left. Inter have to juggle all these other matches. I think they could possibly play 10 games. That is double the amount of games Napoli have to play in the running. Because they have Champions League.
And they'll play 8 now.
Yeah, so they have to, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
the semi-final and the final.
So now they played 1. That's 1 already.
Yeah, so they
have 2
8
games left in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So and possibly another.
Another.
So that juggling is probably going to hurt them, because that juggling is part of the reason they lost this game against AC Milan, and they lost to Ram as well. He's got injury, and he was crucial in those 2 games against
it's massive
Bayern.
for them.
Bayern. So it's suddenly all not looking too good for them.
Look, one thing that maybe the guys didn't say, which I was a bit surprised. Over 2 legs, I think on chances created, Bayern Munich should have put it out Inter Milan.
I agree. Honestly, I agree. I was having a conversation with Chicho last week.
Should have put them out.
About the second leg especially, right?
But
In Italy.
Yeah, but you
over
what I
2
said?
legs.
Yeah.
I said, Inter were probably...
You said it was expected.
Yeah, I said Inter were probably too comfortable. They allowed
And you said they didn't need to win.
They didn't need
Yeah,
to,
that's what I said. He said it was part of the game because of the result.
Yeah.
And when Bayern scored, they showed them that, okay, now we will play.
Even at home, at the Allianz Arena,
They created good
Bayern
chances.
should have beaten them.
Yeah.
Bayern should have, on chances created alone, Bayern should have beaten them. And I'm going to say this emphatically. Barca will submit them. If they are good at defending, they will be made to defend even more.
Okay.
2, Barca will create better chances than them.
Yes.
Factual. It will come down to whether Barca
We'll finish them off.
That is the tall and short of the tactics.
Barca will create. Only thing,
No matter how good they are defending, Barca will create better chances than them.
yeah. Okay.
So Barca will be their own enemies if they don't go to the final.
Okay.
The absence of Lewandowski, I think, is a blessing in disguise. If he was fit, he plays. If he's not fit,
What's the solution?
he's a false number 9 they are going to play. False number 9. That Torres boy is not a natural striker.
No.
So naturally what he does, after leading the press, if he's bypassed, you see him tracking back into midfield to come and add to the numbers. Danny Olmo has come back at the perfect time. Have you watched him of late?
I watched them last week.
So no matter how compact the defenders are, he's got the eye for that pass. Rafinha's off-the-ball movement will pull defenders away from. See, one thing that Barca are so good at doing is the fact that although they've played with a number 9 whose mobility has been questioned in terms of him doing those diagonal runs, those vertical runs into the box and getting the players to pick him up. Those guys who are playing off him are the one, because he will show up. And like Achu said, the Rafinha, the Olmo, the other guys will now go and fill the void, and then they'll create the chances. Mm-hmm. For this Inter Milan team, like I did say, they are so good at defending. They will have to do 2 times better than they did against Bayern Munich.
If they have to go through.
Of course, they have to perform. They have to improve on that.
Over 2 legs, the quality of the defending will have to be top notch. This game is reminding more of that Euros. Is it 2012 Euros?
Italy,
Spain, where Spain went in with the false number 9, and Italy had all the best defenders in the game, and they just played through them, bam, 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 4. They collected 4. Simple. Barcelona will have to watch that high line. So for once, Hansen Flick, when Inter are doing the build-up, because of the runs of DiMarco. Is it DiMarco?
DiMarco.
DiMarco. And then the
Damian.
It will most likely be.
Damian.
Maybe
I
they
think
would.
most likely be Pavard.
Pavard
is not
barely
starting.
plays.
No, but they are playing
fullback. He plays
central.
centre back. One of the three on the right.
I think for once, Flicks will have to say, let's go. But when they have it, let's back off a bit and see the long balls. Because Inter are very good at hitting it long and getting their wing backs to go. And then because they're all very comfortable out wide. DiMarco can go as wide as he can to the bar line, putting those crosses. We saw him in the first, where he did not need to get to the bar line. He just first control, second touch, it was in the box. 2, Barca's ability to control the game in tight situation, in my view, will make the difference. Look, Pedri, Frankie de Jong, the young chap.
Gavi.
No, not even Gavi, the one who is
Casado.
benching Gavi.
Casado.
No, is it Casado? Yeah, the one who, that boy.
Mhm.
They look very tiny, but technically they are very good. On the ball, you cannot brush them off.
You mean the Fermin Lopez boy?
The Fermin Lopez, that's the one.
Fermin Lopez.
That Lopez ball.
That's if he plays because he's
the one. He's been playing off late.
Now that Omo is plays.
For
It's
you know-
it's affected his game.
Yes, but almost
Omo
may
came
be
off the bench
introduced
against
in this
Celta
game
Vigo, and then I
because
somewhere
he's managing his injury.
30 minutes because of the injuries.
think, yeah, because he came in the against Celta Vigo.
He came, he changed
Omo
the game.
came to replace him,
Yes.
and then the next game, the one they played, Mallorca, right?
Yeah.
Almost started ahead of the Fermin Lopez.
That's
That's what the point
that's what I'm saying.
situation
That now
making.
that Omo is back, I
Yes.
wonder if Fermin, because it's either Fermin
think-
or Omo.
I think
that's
he has to play Fermin from the start because of his. Don't forget, he's not only good on the ball, but he has a proper workaholic instinct.
I've also noticed that when Hansi Flick plays Fermin, he plays a flat midfield 3.
Yes.
So Gavi, Pedri, Fermin. When he plays Omo, it's almost like a diamond. Omo
That's
goes on top of Gavi and Pedri.
So, on the part of Inter Milan, in fact, it hurts they are missing Thuram.
Yeah.
I think he would have given them a proper.
Well, I don't know if he will miss this game because he missed the Milan game because of the injury.
No,
so I don't know if
is
he
he-
will be back.
This is not the sort of game you want to rush or
I
force a
think
player to come
we'll
and play.
know after tomorrow's press conference.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Most likely. Fine, I'm not going to talk too much. I have predicted that Barca will be their own enemies if they don't win the Champions League.
So your first pick for them is to go and win the Champions League.
I expect them to beat Inter home and away.
Then whoever they meet on the other
They will
side.
beat. But if they meet Arsenal for once, I'm going to support Thomas Partey.
Oh, okay.
For once, I'm going to be overly Ghanaian
Yeah.
and get Thomas Partey to win it.
No, I would be very Ghanaian and support.
But look, Rafinha can score from anywhere.
Yes.
And
He's having a dream Champions League campaign.
and look, to be honest with you, Inter Milan will have to do something that they've never done throughout the season to qualify. Is it beyond them? No, it's not beyond them.
Okay.
But I just don't see how.
They can suddenly pull that
And there's a score to settle.
from 2010.
It's at the same stage, the only difference
Yes.
here is that
The
the
same
first
stage.
leg was there, second. This one, the first leg is there, the second will be here. I think Barca will pay them back over 2 legs.
That's the disadvantage for Inter. Like if this goes bad, they could live with a deficit they will not recover from.
You are right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Look, if
So
they
we'll
don't
see.
concede,
Typically-
they'll go with a 2-goal deficit.
teams that are compact are better suited to when they have to defend an advantage.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. So, what about you? What are your predictions? Which two teams will make the final? Let's know in the comments on this Malango podcast. By the way, did you? I have a quiz. I have a pop quiz for you, guys.
Are we doing the El Clasico preview?
Relax. This is Champions League episode. So, I have a pop quiz for you. Which country in Africa has the most Champions League winners?
Cote d'Ivoire.
Has the most what?
Champions League winners. He says Cote d'Ivoire. You?
No.
It's a pop quiz.
It's not Cote d'Ivoire.
It's
not
pop quiz. So I say pop quiz is not, means don't think.
Don't think.
Ghana.
You
I think Ghana.
two are correct. He's wrong.
It's Ghana, yeah.
Because we have
But,
a
okay, what number? How many?
I think 4.
Got to be 4.
How many?
4.
4?
Yeah, except for
Yeah.
5.
No, we have 5.
We have
Yeah,
five.
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ibrahim Tanko, Sami Kufo.
Yeah, Tanko,
Tanko.
Abedi.
Already.
Yeah.
5.
5.
The closest next African country.
I have a question for you too.
Let me finish.
Uh-huh.
So you get to ask it.
Okay.
The next closest African country would be which country? And how
Nigeria.
many winners do you think they would have?
I think it's Nigeria.
With how many?
So there's Finidi George, there's Kanu Nwankwo,
Mikel Obi.
there's Mikel Obi. And then I think there's one more, I've forgotten.
There's none more.
These
Those
3.
Same as Cote d'Ivoire.
Same
by
as
the
Cote
way.
d'Ivoire.
Yeah,
Go-
Cote d'Ivoire. I think Cote d'Ivoire.
uh,
Cote d'Ivoire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cote d'Ivoire's 3. Go on.
Didier Drogba.
Didier
yeah,
Drogba,
actually.
Solomon
Uh-huh.
Kalou.
And then Solomon, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I did this pop quiz in order to remind viewers that Ghana is in no danger of being caught by any other African country when it comes to the number of Champions League winners that we have. So we have enough.
You're comfortable.
If Partey wins, I'll give a 6.
Do you understand? We have enough. There's no
And we have 2
Nigerian
more.
or Ivorian in any of the 4
So
teams.
if Arsenal doesn't win nothing's ball,
That is the essence of my pop quiz.
Charlie, go to the-
Hey, you were saying what? You said you had a question.
Yeah, I had a question for you.
What's your question?
The first Algerian to win the Champions League.
Rabba Maja
Yeah.
with Porto.
Yeah, we thought, yeah.
My football knowledge is top. Oh.
You are listening to the Hits FM show today.
No, I wasn't. I just know. There are some things I just know by virtue of the job. Like, it's just something I just know. You understand? Well, you had another question for me.
Oh, I'm looking.
Go on. He did a Champions League quiz. He has brought the question. He said, come and deal with me. Look at this guy. Go on. So now he's scrolling through to find a difficult question. Instead of him to just go through
No,
the next
not,
question.
not
Charlie, let's do
difficult.
the other one in case we
Not
start.
difficult.
It's difficult.
Darby, I'm
Charlie,
not looking for
let's close it.
I'm looking for a question you
Actually,
didn't-
now you can't-
I'm
can't
looking for a
beat me.
question you
knows
didn't
I'm
think
too
about.
knowledgeable in this.
Ah,
So
now you want to gloat.
do you have another
I'm
question?
going to
for
ask
me?
you a question you wouldn't know the answer.
Do you
No.
want to ask?
Who's the first African-born player to feature in the Champions League final?
Africa-born
Yes.
player,
Yes.
born in Africa,
Yes.
to play in the Champions League
I'll give you
final.
my salary for next month if you get it correct.
You won
That's how confident I am that the question I did.
Africa, born in
Why are
Africa.
you repeating the question?
Because I'm thinking. It allows me to think.
See, this is why you can think.
The Champions League began in
Wait me for lawyers.
the Champions League or European Cup come home.
In fact, this one was from the old European Cup.
Okay, then it's the Zimbabwean goalkeeper for
He's not
Liverpool.
Bruce Grobbelaar. This was decades before Bruce Grobbelaar.
I need name.
Yeah, that's it.
What is his name?
Jess Fontaine is from Morocco.
Just Fontaine.
Yes.
Yes, I know that name. Which team?
Stade Reims. 59.
59.
Until I'm say Eden. But why did you think I said the question was asked?
59.
But then your father has not mentioned.
Why do you think I said the question Eden?
But who is the first to win? Is it Bruce?
Yeah, Bruce Grobbelaar.
You see, my football knowledge is top. Oh. The fact that I even remember Bruce
Everybody
Grobbelaar,
would
crowd,
know
you should clap for me.
Everybody would know which.
Sansa won him, no.
Me.
Oh, but you fence by.
What you say if you know Bruce
I
Grobbelaar?
beg.
Me, I don't-
I beg.
Wait, coach, what's his name? Group.
I didn't say Kruisi. What you know? Nkwasi Ade.
Oh, Basha.
Sit down, let's do the program.
That's it. Please subscribe, share, like. We're back again next week with another episode. Take care of yourself and bye.